All right, welcome to Spoiler Kings. I'm with Brandman Brandon, Brandon Grizzly, and we are going to get into Little Mermaid. So we got a few different topics about this movie. We're going to get into some of the scandals with it, that's going on online. We're going to get into some of the controversies that's going on with this whole movie. But first, we're just going to start with our spoiler filled. So big spoilers. So if you haven't seen it and you have no idea, you've never seen any Little Mermaid, then,
Yeah.
then I go check it out and come back if you've never seen it.
If you see any Little Mermaid, like you're
Ever
good. You're good.
Disney, non-Disney, but we are going to talk about spoilers and details of it. But we're going to start off with some of the good stuff, some of the bad stuff, and then give our official rating on it, and then we'll get into some of our other topics about this movie. You got a synopsis by any chance, or you want to? We could probably skip the synopsis.
I can do a synopsis. I
don't know. Some of these movies, I'm like, they're so kind of they're so well known or so ingrained into things like Fast X. Like people drive cars and Dom flies somehow.
Yeah, Dom just becomes progressively more superhuman with each movie.
Yeah, I think like this one's kind of gonna be pretty similar. Evil octopus lady tries to blackmail pretty mermaid chick, and there's a guy in there.
Yes, a guy somewhere in there. Yeah. All right, I got it up.
All right, go for it.
All right. The youngest of King Triton's daughters, Ariel, is a beautiful and spirited young mermaid with a thirst for adventure. Longing to find out more about the world beyond the sea, Ariel visits the surface and falls for the dashing Prince Eric. Following her heart, she makes a stupid deal. I'm putting stupid in there. Deal with the sea witch Ursula, to experience life on land. Dun dun dun.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what happened.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, we're gonna do full spoilers anyway with it, but yeah, that's a good little synopsis with it. Start off with some of the good stuff, Brandon.
Okay.
Some things you liked about it.
Oh, okay. Brandon's gonna start with good. Here we go.
First and foremost, I'm gonna be as fair as possible to this movie.
Put your critic hat on.
Yeah, I'm gonna be fair. I'm not gonna spew venom all over it because I'm gonna try to be fair, and plus I've just been having a very awful day. But anyway, first and foremost, best I think from an acting standpoint, Halle Bailey, Melissa McCarthy, easily the two best things about this movie. It really does not matter what color Ariel is, and I feel compelled to say that again. Ariel's color was not instrumental to her character. So really, she could be any. Even the creator of the original story, Hans Christian Andersen, didn't disclose what color Ariel was. So I think Halle Bailey really did a great job. There were parts that she even just in terms of her speech pattern and voice kind of embodied Jodie Benson, who voiced Ariel in the original. I thought she really sold a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
Melissa McCarthy as Ursula was great. She was almost my favorite thing about the movie. I thought she did a great job. Even the rendition of "Poor Unfortunate Souls," which is one of my favorite Disney songs, by the way.
It was dark and good.
It was pretty good. I liked that. I think that a lot of the scenes above water really shined for me. I think those were probably some of my favorite things about the movie. I think, we'll get into some of the things that I kind of had a problem with later, but there were some aspects of it that worked. Mostly from an acting standpoint. And we all know Halle Bailey can sing. That's probably the reason number one that she was cast, because of her voice, and that was such a vital part of Ariel's character. Her singing voice. So.
Half the movie. That's half the movie.
Yeah.
She didn't talk the other half.
Mm-hmm. But by the way, even though Jessica Alexander, who played Vanessa. She was great for her bit part. Even kind of looked like the animated version of the character.
Yeah.
So yeah, there were elements of it that I did think worked, particularly in the acting department, and some of the scenes. Particularly above water, were probably the ones that really held my attention.
Okay. What you got, Brian?
So I like this movie a lot. And once again, full disclosure, I have 2 little girls. I went and saw my 2 little girls. So, you know, a lot of my opinion is jaded by them because I feel like they're the target our audience. It's not about a 39, 38, 40-year-old man. It's about, it's a 6 and 8-year-old little girl, and not specifically any little girl. It's for an ethnic girl, and it doesn't even matter to be ethnic because honestly, what they did a great job is having everybody represented. Doesn't matter what the King Triton was. He's was it Javier Bardem, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But he had a white, Hispanic, Chinese. I mean, I don't know if she's Chinese or Asian specific, Black, African. Like you had all those type, and for the 7 C's, which it made perfect sense. I thought it just made sense within the idea of the movie and them trying to be multicultural. And then even with that same thing, like when you talk about tickets that are sold for this movie, 35% were Black, 33% were white, 23% were Latina, 9% were Asian. Like it was once again a smorgasbord of different type of people going to see the movie because that's what you really wanted. And if you wanted to be inclusive, you need to have Lin-Manuel Miranda doing your music. So I thought that a lot of
that's true.
A lot of that was good, and even bringing Davey Diggs in there, I thought that was really cool because I think about Hamilton and things like that. I just think you have to understand those things before we even get into the movie part, because the movie is still a Disney movie, it's still a live action movie. You're still going to follow certain things, but when you can speak to people like that and it's multicultural like that, I already feel like it's a home run. Then when I started diving into the actual acting, Halle Bailey is unbelievable. I've always thought she was unbelievable. Her and her sister Chloe, I always loved them. So that's just there are stars waiting to be discovered. And then we see Melissa McCarthy. She did amazing. I mean, really did. I mean, her singing was good. Her acting was good. She brought the interest in there. I loved all that. I loved the way they cast the Queen. I loved how Eric was found and adopted. And I love the idea of the island being there and how important the island was to everybody and how important it was to Eric specifically. They brought me in and I want to protect them. And I thought that was really good. And even the idea of new age and old age and understanding you have to change with the times. They told you what they have to change with the times immediately in the movie. So if you didn't get that, you probably missed out. So, I mean, just all those things coming together are great. There's some things I did not like about it, but I think overall this is a really good movie. I enjoyed the journey with it, and I enjoyed that my daughters were enthralled by it. And I love the fact that they, at the end of the movie, they looked at my wife and they said, "Mommy, your hair looks just like hers." Wow. That's not something you ever hear. My wife has dreads. She has red dreads. They see themselves in the movie. That's huge.
Yeah. So, right off the bat, like you said, like it's made for kids. I mean, like us as critics, I guess, with it, we kind of put on our critic helmet, for it. But the end, it's still a Disney movie. It's a Disney princess movie. It's made for kids. It's made for kids and stuff like that. So, and for us, I think this came out when we were all kids. What, 92, 93? 89. Holy shit, man. Yeah, never mind. Like I remember going to see this, with my sister,
Saw my cousin.
So, so it has a lot of nostalgia, I think for us older people, with it. I mean, it's hard not to compare it to the original animated one. But I think for live actions, I learned my lesson, and it's its own thing, more or less, but with it, both what you guys said, the acting was great. We have the 2 people in the corner that, the villain and the hero, and they were, oh my God, they were great. Like, but I have to kind of go a little bit more in depth with, like Brandon said, like how she played that character from the original, because you think of like Ariel's very naive, very like blissfully naive, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, she's an idiot in the original. She was an idiot.
Yeah, way more like seeing past things.
She's a 14-year-old girl.
Yeah.
That's 14 or 15-year-old girl.
I do like they kind of
aged her up a little bit. Yeah,
and both of them. Well, I think Eric was about the same, but at least they're about the same age in this one.
Yeah, she was 16 in the original. She mentions that, right?
Yeah.
It was her 16th birthday. Wasn't it the celebration for her 16th birthday?
Oh shit! Yeah. That's right. Yeah. So she was a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
But also I think she was naive, but she also had that childish innocence.
Mm-hmm.
So once she was on land, and she just had this like very like. It reminded me of the cartoon a little bit, of her just like so happy about being and seeing things and learning things and being around Eric and learning all the stuff that he was like teaching her, like, oh, this is that, like they spent all night and him like going off about all this like crazy stuff that he knows, and it's just like
you don't want to about this maps, and she's like,
do more. So it was very, I thought that was done. When something happened, like she was very good at expressing this like newly learned kind of like surprise kind of reaction. So I thought she crushed it. Plus her singing was insane. It was, I mean, goosebumps in some of the, And then for me, I thought Mr. McCarthy was great. She's definitely one of the coolest villains, top 5 somewhere in there. I don't want to rank them right now, but definitely one of the best villains Disney ever made. Ursula is just super badass. She's really scary as a little kid, seeing it. I think they did a pretty good job. So I went with, it was just me and my girlfriend, and for her, Ursula is her favorite villain, and she felt that she didn't make it her own. She was more saying like it was a little, she tried to copy and paste, which is a problem that they always have. But for me, I thought she did a good job. I thought the singing was great. I was like, damn, how much did she spend on singing lessons? Because what the heck, man. But she was really good. Really, really good with it. The CGI was really good. All the scenes I shot were really good. Even some of the new songs, not all the new songs.
No, not
some
all.
of the new songs were really great. There was one. Derpy said, I like the new song Ariel had with her inner thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Loved that. It fit the movie perfectly. Exactly. It fit the movie perfectly, and I thought that was great. They even made it so like it had this weird echo kind of like
you think about, you hear it inside.
Yeah, so
inside,
you knew exactly it was like her thinking it, and I thought that was a great song with it, a new song, because there are some new songs in it, but yeah. Overall, I thought the acting was top notch, but Melissa McCarthy, Halle Bailey knocked it out of the water. Yeah. They were the stars. Which they need to be. So real quick, we'll get into some of these. Just a few of the comments. Let's see. I know we're like all over the place with it. So we had like Derpy's there, but even Derpy said Melissa McCarthy was the best part of the film. She pulled it off. She pulled it off for sure. The kid's perspective is super important. I mean, really, it's the only one that matters for Disney. They're like, listen, we're gonna get the kids because you're gonna want to make the kid happy as a parent. Exactly. So yeah. So a few other ones.
I mean, the movie made sense too. Like, it didn't just end like the Disney movie ended. They ended it differently, and I thought that was good too. And it was well done, well received. I enjoyed that part.
Yeah, I have a newfound respect for Miss McCarthy. Same, she did a great job as Ursula. I think so too. I also liked her when she was like freaking out looking for the potion. And kind of she brought a little bit of her like comedy in it. Yeah, I like that.
She's like, never mind, I got it. I'll be right back. I got to turn off my slow cooker. Hang on.
All right, go for it. So we'll just go through some of these more comments of the good stuff. But yeah, she was good. Uncharted Waters with the best new song. So Derpy liked the new song with Eric.
I don't know. It was okay. It was okay. I was like, even Eric as an actor, I didn't mind him, but he was just okay.
Yeah. I mean, for a Little Mermaid, you have 3 major characters. 2 over the rest is Ariel, number 1, Ursula, number 2, and Eric has to be not bad. And he doesn't even need to be great. He just needs to be not bad and not look too pervy-ish. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But he did good. He did good. But I got some thoughts about this song that we'll get into next when Brandon comes back. Ursula is based on a drag queen, Divine. Yeah. Which I know Melissa McCarthy said she got a lot of her like inspiration and look, and the way she was like moving and mannerisms and stuff was, she said she had got from a lot of drag queens. Didn't care for Eric's song. So yeah, we'll bring that up in a little bit.
You say I'm also lukewarm on Scuttlebutt. Yeah,
lukewarm on Scuttlebutt. But we're gonna get into both of those songs because I got a feeling about those. Agreed with Wild Uncharted song was the best of the new songs. Yeah, I mean, Lin-Manuel, that's a Lin-Manuel song. That's a newer one. And he did all the new songs for it. So obviously, you're gonna get a lot of people that like it because he just knows how to make people like. Man, he's so good at that stuff. Yeah. So, but I'm glad. Added more to the story. Added more to him a little bit.
They added more to the story. Period. Just in other things they added. I mean, the movie was 2 hours and 10 minutes long. I was like, this is a long movie. But I was a little worried about it. But they did add more to the story. Was it necessary? I think it's only necessary because you don't want to have the movie be exact carbon copy. Yeah. So sometimes you need to do those things.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Eric was kind of bland in the last one. Zach, what is up? Go check out Zach. Man. He was getting some hate from his stuff, man. And we saw it on Twitter.
I was like, why you Zach? These people were that was stupid. Like, that was so stupid. I'm looking like really, guys. Like, talk about his voice. What? You just hating. You just trolling.
Just hating.
That's all you're doing. These people are terrible. I'm glad you posted it on Twitter because they need to be called out because that's just stupid. Come on, man.
Yeah. So, but go check out Zach, man. He does live shows all the time. He had the other Zach on there. There was the Zach show, the Zach's show. So, and Chillmonger did the best one. He goes Canadian Zach and American Zach. That's the best way to split them up. But yeah, so go check out Zach, man. Go give him some support. He was getting some hate for his out of the theater reaction. So
yeah, people.
Oh we'll show you review in a little bit. Unfortunate Souls is my favorite edition, which is funny because I skipped it in the OG. Really, that's a classic, man. That's a classic. And I thought she did a good job.
What my second or third favorite villain song. I mean, my favorite is still with the Lion King, what they effed up in the live action.
Yeah, they completely turned into a poem.
Well, that spoken word version of "Be Prepared."
Yeah, that was like you said, one of the best songs ever. Yeah. But yeah, Erica doesn't get much development in the original, which is why I like it. I can see that. Eric by far the most improved character from the original. I agree.
I can say and they ruined Scuttle, but whatever.
Well, yeah. Well, we're gonna get to the negatives in a second. The romance. That's one thing I didn't really bring up, or I don't think anyone really brought up. The romance was much better in this one.
It made sense.
It felt more organic.
Yeah.
It didn't feel forced, which I think was a big problem in the last one. Yeah. Was it was forced?
It was fast and it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
No, one of my favorite lines in the original was when Triton and Ariel are arguing about Eric, and Ariel goes, "You don't even know him." I'm like, "Little girl, you don't even know him.
You don't even know him."
What are you talking about?
But Daddy, I love him.
Yeah.
How do you know?
Yeah. How do you know? Tell me some stuff about him, Ariel.
What's his last name?
Yeah. What's his favorite food? How is he with kids? Does he want kids? What are his political views? What's his favorite kind of music?
What's his shoe size? Do you even know that?
She probably does. She probably has a bunch of his underwear and shoes and stuff in her little cave.
Because it kind of seems like the full extent of your interaction with this dude Ariel is rescuing him and singing to his unconscious body for a few seconds.
Yeah.
But that's another thing. Like the siren song, they completely skipped that in the movie, in the original. And here they kind of like, oh yeah, her voice is not
siren.
Beautiful, but it's very attractive to bring people in. It lures them in. So you're also going actual mythology of mermaids with the siren song, and I'm like, oh, that's really interesting, you know. But then like going back to the romance was like with the inner song that she had, which is why I loved it, because once he saw her and she goes, that's not her, because obviously she can't talk. And then it went from like her song was like, what did I do? Like, is this the right choice? Did I just lose everything? And I'm like, yes, she's actually like, oh shit, I put everything on the line. Mm-hmm. I put everything on the line, and did I lose? Did I mess up? And I'm like, that's why that song was great, because it wasn't just like, oh, happy, happy, happy. It was like, oh shit, wait, maybe I made the wrong choice, you know? And that's like, yeah, you know, sometimes heat of the moment
made more sense. And that's one of those things where I told you guys, I felt like this movie actually added on to the original movie. I feel like this is those are one of the parts that added on to the original movie that wasn't there. But you know, that wasn't that seed of doubt was never there. You know, and actually enjoying the person for who the person is, I thought that was good. And seeing who they are with people, with kids, what they care about. We actually know what Eric is instead of just a dude.
Yeah. So I liked it. You know, Kiss the Girl was really good. I know Brian has some stuff about it. We'll get into that in a second. But cool. That's about it. We'll get into some of these other the other comments and stuff like that. Yeah. So we'll get into some of the bad stuff. So I feel like I don't want to start with Brandon because I want to keep this short. But Brandon, what's some bad stuff you didn't like about the Little Mermaid?
I think my main thing, once again, without like spewing venom all over the movie, because I want to be fair to it, but it kind of I kind of had the same problem that I did as Beauty and the Beast and some of the other remakes. Like it was kind of like a speed run of the original with like a couple tweaks here and there, just kind of for the sake of padding the runtime. I also hate throwing around this term. I try to avoid it. But they did, to an extent, kind of make Ariel kind of feel like a Mary Sue at times. By that, I mean, like in the original, you know, like she got help when she got legs, Flounder and Sebastian helped in getting her to the surface. In this one, she immediately, for the first time getting legs, immediately knows to expertly kick her way to the surface. Or, you know, like she basically defeats Vanessa. You know, like in the original, she gets her voice back from Vanessa or Ursula with the help of, you know, like her sea friends. In this one, she almost does it all by herself, with the exception of Scuttle kind of flying over her a couple times. Even in like the real icing on the cake for me was Ariel delivering the killing blow to Ursula and not Eric, because, you know, that was kind of instrumental to Triton finally seeing that not all humans were bad. So, you know, they took a lot of that, you know, that kind of defeated that, or not even kind of, I think that really defeated that whole plot point that I thought was very important. Along with some of the good acting performances, some of it was pretty low energy, particularly Javier Bardem, who just seemed really low energy. I don't know if he was stoned the entire filming or what, but he certainly seemed like it. And Triton, in the original, I liked how, you know, even though he could be like a hard ass and, you know, destroyed Ariel's possessions and stuff, he did have like a warmth to him, and you could tell that he cared about his daughter. In this one, it didn't even seem like he liked his daughters. He just kind of glowered a lot. He just had the same look on his face, which the entire time, which was kind of he was kind of scary at times. But and those were kind of my things with it, without eating up too much time.
Okay. I don't think that he didn't like his daughter. Wait, I think he didn't like anyone else but Ariel. No one, because like when she didn't show up, he was like, "What the hell's wrong with you? You go out there and go find her. You go out there and go find her." Like It's almost like everyone else worked for her. She's the youngest, and she's the only one that he really cared about at this point. That's what I felt more than anything. But as a father, I felt like you're so frustrated. The good moments you forget because you're trying to guide them, and they're just always anti whatever you're saying. That you get so frustrated a lot of times that you just forget to give them some of the warmth, because the warmth was really when they're little girls and they're listening, and then when they're not listening, you're like, it's the frustration, and I think that's just natural. And I thought that was pretty accurate.
That's great.
But there's some stuff that I just first of all,
And,
Scuttle is awful. I don't care. Scuttle is awful.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
and
I'm
I'm
sorry.
not even someone. I was just going to say, I'm not even someone who necessarily dislikes Aquafina. I'm pretty indifferent to her. I don't mind her, but yeah, Scuttle was. I don't want to call Scuttle annoying in the original because he kind of made use of himself.
He was funny. He was almost like comic relief.
Yeah. They just made Scuttle a moron,
like a goofball. Yeah.
When do fish breathe underwater?
Yeah,
and talk underwater and be under there for like 5-10 minutes, like what? You're a whale?
Yeah, it's like I didn't see why that needed to be changed. Why they made her like some kind of like diving fish or whatever it was.
I mean, even she's a pelican. Why couldn't she be on a rock and you go up in the air, in the water, out of the water, that people could actually talk? That didn't make any sense. That she had to come into the water and talk like it didn't make sense in water. Like, come on, man. That was just very weird, in my opinion. I had all these reservations about Sebastian, and I almost forgot how much I didn't like the way he looked, because it was just it was done so very well. Same thing I feel about Flounder. It was done well, so I almost didn't mind. But Scuttle was just awful for me. I thought
so. Real quick, I looked it up because I wanted to look it up when I got home, because that was something I thought about. It says the best example of diving birds is pigeons, blah blah blah. But some species of like penguins and this and that, they're talking about like diving birds. Yeah. They said some of these can stay underwater for like 10 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
So like pelicans?
It's not a pelican, because it's not a pelican, but they have like, I seen it when I was in Peru. Like they literally dive like just a missile, and then they pop up, but it says most of them.
Wow. Okay.
Some of them. I think that might have been more penguins, but it says a typical dive takes 10 to 30 seconds. But this one's like ducks. Even a duck can stay down there for like a couple minutes.
Yeah, which I can see that. Yeah, because the duck spins past this water. It has feet that are used for swimming, so that makes sense to me. But I didn't, just putting your head underneath water, just talking underneath, was just kind of. Really? Okay.
Yeah. So it says seabirds normally dive for 3 to 10 minutes, according to this. They need to breathe 2 to 3 minutes before diving to get their air.
Okay.
So 2 to 3 minutes. That's not bad. Maybe we can stretch it out a little bit, but
that's long enough to have a conversation. With, whatever.
Because that was something I thought about too. I'm like, that bird's underwater, and then finally, as they swim away, she goes, "Oh, I need to go get air." I was like, "Oh shit, that's right." Like you're underwater. It's like a SpongeBob thing. You forget sometimes you're underwater. So.
Oh my goodness. So, okay. So bad parts for me. I don't feel like they added onto the movie unnecessarily, because I thought the parts they added were actually good for me. I think I talked about that in the good parts. I thought that was some of those things were important. I do agree with the whole Eric not, doing it, not showing Triton why he should believe in Eric. I thought that was important. I know what they did in the scene. So Ariel goes back underneath the water. He sees how unhappy she was, and then he tries to solve. So I know how they did it. But I do agree that Eric showing that all humans aren't bad, and not just because she says it, but because he shows with his actions is important in the movie, and not having that does kind of make some mistakes. Shows a mistake. I thought the whole Ursula changing into somebody else, and not having her voice when they ripped off the voice thing, I think that was a mistake too. I thought that you should have had Melissa McCarthy have a regular voice now. She only changes her appearance, so I thought that was a little mess up. But And I think, well, I said about Triton with the other daughters seemed like he didn't like them. like because this whole story was about Ariel, it just seemed like that he didn't care for her, care for anyone else. And I didn't necessarily enjoy that. I thought that was weird because he should love them all the same if that's the case.
Yeah,
just because one's younger means nothing.
He treated them like subordinates or like
go find her.
Yeah.
And then Prince Eric, there's a lot of parts that I really did like about him, and there's some parts where I didn't think his singing was necessary at all. So that's just me, But I don't have a huge amount of things that I really didn't like about the movie. I thought it was overall a good movie, and it was a good kids movie. So
yeah.
Why didn't Flotsam and Jetsam talk?
Yeah, that's one of my my issues is like you have Sebastian, you have Flounder, you have a bird that can breathe underwater, but it's like you don't have the minions of Ursula talking,
Yeah, like
I didn't get it.
Their whole thing was they would talk and they would finish each other's sentences in the original. I got a kick out of that.
Yeah, they could have definitely done that, and that would have been cool to see, in live action, because I mean they're already really scary looking.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, I like the way they looked. I really like the way they looked. But yeah, I was and they were like two of my favorite supporting characters in the original, but I was just so let down that they didn't talk.
Yeah, and it just doesn't make any sense. It's like the crab, the fish, the bird, they don't talk, but the evil electric eels, nah, that's too much.
They're only singing rock music, guys. Come on, gotta know. Obvious.
Yeah, but yeah, that's definitely one of my complaints was like, why didn't they talk? Like I want, like Ariel has her friends talking. I want to see Ursula and her friends kind of like talk to each other. I think the Ursula scene, I would have liked more Ursula, and I'm trying to remember in the original how much did we get of her, and I wouldn't mind maybe an extra scene of Ursula.
Not a lot.
Yeah, not a lot, but she was cool. But one thing, like here, like Xavier said, Scuttle was the song that they did. It's like, why rap? Come on,
they can make a rap. I was like, come on, man, don't.
That's the flip side of like the Eric song, great, made sense, was perfect. Also, it's Lin-Manuel Miranda, so therefore we need a rap somehow, somewhere. Like it just needs to go in there. And
I mean, you have Aquafina there doing it. She's got a rap. So that's
and also it was like, let's take the person who's already in trouble for like stealing, a different culture and stuff like that. Let's have her rap. I'm like, okay. But it wasn't even that good of a song. It was a bad song.
It was a terrible song.
It was just a bad song, and I did not care for it. Also, like you guys, however you read them, seemed like he was in a different film. He really did. It seemed like he did. Like when he was talking to Sebastian, did they not put like a fake crab for him to look at?
He didn't know who he was talking to.
Like it was like he was just like looking off into the distance, and like he was so monotone the whole time. Like, I feel like, hey, we're going to CGI your beard. So he's like, okay, so I just need to talk like this, like not move my face. It's just like, it seemed off. He was very monotone the whole time. Like he got loud, but it still wasn't like an angry loud. It was just talking louder. It was like, that's not angry. You're just louder, but you're still like the same kind of level. I don't know. It's just off. It was just off.
And we all know the dude can act. He's an incredible actor. He's a really, really good actor.
Yeah.
And with this being from the director of Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales, which he was one of the best parts of to me. I thought we were going to get like another performance, like kind of on that same level.
Triton is not a main character, guys. He's still on screen time.
A background, yeah.
But
it's 4 minutes on screen time. He's just known to be this disapproving parent that has the power that will fight for his daughter. That's all. I mean, literally, that's all he really is.
But that said, even in the original, Triton was a supporting character too, and I thought we got a really great voice performance out of, I forgot the actor's name, but if you're hiring Javier Bardem, I
Exactly.
expect it. But I think he just wanted an easy paycheck. Maybe it was like a week or two of film. But so
no, in the postings, he seemed like they have a lot of fun with the actors and actresses, and there's a lot of pictures of him enjoying what he did. So I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I wish that energy translated over to his performance.
Yeah, it was bad. But yeah, we're like Orgy. Yeah, Scuttlebutt is very Lin-Manuel Miranda type of song, for good and bad.
Yeah. I do feel bad for the sound mixer who probably had to listen to that for months on end.
I can never want to hear Aquafina ever again. And I think that was like the biggest take that even people like Derpy obviously liked the movie from all his comments today. But he, same thing. The song didn't work for him. No one is liking this song. I haven't heard anybody say like, "Oh, it was okay." Like the Eric song, like Xavier. I think more people like it, but there are a lot of people that are like, "Oh, it was okay. I didn't care for it. Whatever, no big deal. It didn't bother me."
Yeah,
but
it doesn't bother.
And I'm kind of lukewarm on Scuttlebutt. So that's probably the nicest thing I've heard about that song was being lukewarm about it.
Yeah. I was, like I said, I expected a song from Aquafina when they casted her.
I was like, no, please no.
Yeah, I expected it. It. I don't know, I wasn't really a fan of the song. It didn't really it didn't really irritate me that much because I kind of tuned out when it happened. But
it came out of nowhere. It was just like,
there was no reason for it.
I'm like, okay, there's no reason for it.
It really didn't need to be there. I agree.
Yeah, thank God it was a short song. I was like, oh my God, like we're not running it down to the ocean and doing big like choreography with it. It's just So like David Diggs killed his rap, which makes sense. He won the Tony for his rapping and singing in Hamilton. The problem with Scuttle's part, which makes up the majority of the song. Yeah. It's kind of like if you don't like Aquafina, you really don't care for her voice either. But I'm trying to think of any other bad parts that I really didn't care for.
I mean, I was surprised at how much I actually enjoyed.
What's about you guys got any good or bad that we might have missed? Because there are a couple good things I forgot to say. Now after talking about it and stuff like that before we get into our ratings, but I don't know any other ones you might have missed, Brandon or Brian.
Sebastian for me, I got it. Sebastian did well, like even his slides, comments and everything really held things together. He was a good extra character that I did not see coming. I enjoyed that. I really thought I wasn't going to enjoy him at all. I loved the Queen Selena.
She was cool. Yeah,
I
she was a little flip floppy, but
yeah,
it was there.
Yeah, so make a decision to stay with it, lady. Like, all right, I know you're the prince, but I'm gonna lock you in the house. All right, cool.
Even
There's no windows. I'm just gonna hop out.
Like I'm
There's no windows, bro.
I was amused by that. I'm gonna lock you in the house. Never mind that you're like 30. That you look like you're about 30. Yeah.
She was like, "You stayed in the house the whole day." He's like, "Yeah, sure." He was out the entire day.
as he was already leaving, like when she said that. Yeah. So one thing that I saw, I don't think a lot of other people saw, and I wanted to make sure, so I went online as I got home and I looked it up. Was Jodie Benson, right? Jodie Benson, who was the original voice of Ariel from the movie. She was in this very quick, kind of side. Yeah, she was in the market. She was one of the sellers, and I thought that was good. I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. I like that little cameo.
I like the whole market. I mean, just really bringing to the understanding that this is an island and feeling the Caribbean feel of it. Just the bright colors and understanding where we are and why we're doing these things and why she could fall in love in a place that still has so much water around it. I thought that was a really important part.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a bunch of like, cameos that was good. Some of the songs and stuff like that. I'm trying to think, there was something, but yeah, Sebastian was surprisingly didn't bother me. I didn't hate it, I didn't love it, but it didn't bother me, which I was okay with. I'm like, okay, it didn't put me off like I thought it was.
Yeah, a lot of people were kind of. I've seen a lot of reviews kind of saying he was bad or he was one of the weaker links in the movie. I didn't mind Sebastian. I thought David Diggs did absolutely fine. He was no Samuel Lee Wright from the original.
Yeah, he's not the original. Come on, but that's just great.
But I thought he was fine.
Yeah. And then a couple other ones. Sebastian in general had the most laughs in Horror Geeks Theater. Sebastian had the most laughs in
because he's talking, on the side. He's talking to the king, who just seems to be out of touch and everything, and he was saying things that people were thinking. So I thought that was good.
Yeah. But yeah, every time they were about to kiss, and he's like, yes, and they don't. Like, yeah, that was like, and he would like be all disappointed, like it's kind of like funny.
I like that they added that to the story that she doesn't remember that they need to kiss.
Yeah, because that makes more sense.
Yeah, because a beautiful girl like that wanted to kiss the dude just get kissed.
Did they do that in the original? I haven't seen the original. She knew. Oh, that's right.
Time.
Yeah, that's right. Because then it makes more sense why. Sorry, Brandon, but it makes more sense why "Kiss the Girl" is an actual song in the movie, because they have to do it, but that's why they have to do it like so no one, you don't notice it. I'm like, oh, okay, I like that.
You tell her she's gonna pass out or fall out or something.
Yeah,
that made more sense because if a girl wants to kiss a guy, she's gonna kiss a guy. If you're pretty too, come on, man.
yeah. So go ahead, Brandon. What were you gonna say?
Oh, nothing. I was saying I was kind of indifferent to that change. It was one of the changes that they made that I didn't mind as much, that kind of drove the plot forward rather than just kind of padding the runtime. So I didn't mind that one either.
Yeah,
but I thought the siren thing was huge too, though. Yeah, I mean, honestly, talking about the voice of a siren, which is all mythology that you get from all pirates, anything, adding that to it is huge, isn't it? I mean, that's a big thing. It's not just like an add-on. That's like a thing. Like, no, that's makes more sense. It makes the movie make more sense. And they should have said in the first movie that that's something that they probably missed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the first one also it's animated shorter in the 80s, and stuff like that. So this one last thing was, for me, this movie was a little too long. And I was in theater with obviously a lot of kids. I was there Saturday morning, like 10 a.m. And around that hour and a half, hour 45, you start seeing some of the kids get a little antsy.
Kids get up and go to the bathroom.
A few of them, like, had it didn't bother me. Obviously, like you said, you're there. The kids are there. You know what I mean? You're at a kid's film. It's like being mad at a Minions where a kid like loses his shit. It's like, it makes sense. Like it's made for kids. So if they have like, a temper tantrum or something like that, like it didn't ruin it for me. It was like, whatever, just kind of tune it out a little bit. But around that's when all the kids started one kid started and it kind of snowballed, and it was a little too long. Even for us, as an adults, me and Eric were like, what the hell?
It was right around the time when Melissa McCarthy comes into above land, and everyone was like, all right, guys, this better go really, really fast.
Yeah.
Because it went to so much detail and other things. You're like, okay, that's 15 minutes. I'm never gonna get back. Come on, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, exactly. Horror Geek said I had a kid running around in my area during the Mario showing. I had some loud kids in there, but again, it's made for them. It's not made for us. It's made for us as nostalgia. It's made for them as actual entertainment. Yeah. So yeah, and then if they shaved about 15-20 minutes, it would have really helped the kiddos out. And yeah, Xavier said that. I agree. Yeah. I agree. It would help me out because
not everything needs to be 2 hours or 2 hours plus 2.5 hours.
I think 2 hours for a kids movie is cap. That's as much as you can do. That has to be like, it's a hard stop here, and then we gotta make everything else fit.
Yeah, like 120 minutes. That's it. We're done. because they're already sitting in there for the trailers, for all this. They got to see what's her name talk about how, thank you for coming to AMC. So I mean,
because they are.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So like they're already in there for a while. Plus, then the movie starts. So, it's a little much for kids. But cool. I think that's about it. You guys ready for the review? It was a little bit long one, but it is what it is. All right. Bring it up. Cool. So our ratings, we do now, later, never. Now means you gotta go check it out right now. It is worth it. Later means you wait till it's on streaming. No big deal. Never means skip it. Don't spend your money. Don't kill your brain cells. Brandon, what are you giving this one?
I'll give it a later.
Okay.
Once like when I walked out of the theater, I was a little more. I disliked it a little more than what I'm conveying now. As for right now,
we saw your messages in the group.
I wanted to shake my head. I was like, this dude.
Yeah, where I'm just, at this point, once it's kind of sunken in, I'm a little more indifferent to it. I didn't particularly care for it, but it's nothing offensively bad. It's just okay to me. You can pretty much just stick with the original if you wanted to, but this one doesn't do anything to tarnish the legacy of it. It's really just another Disney remake to me, and at this point, I kind of know what to expect from those. Just kind of like blow by blow, Cliff Notes speed runs of the previous ones with a couple additions here and there. I did think it had its merits. It was pretty well acted. There were some things that they added and kind of removed or changed that I kind of had a couple problems with. Some of the underwater effects, also, I meant to mention this earlier, weren't the greatest. It was kind of it was a little too like it came out of the 80s or 90s to me at times. Like the underwater effects made them look like really, really weightless, or like I've said in the past, maybe I've just been spoiled by Avatar too.
Yeah, I was like, this is not Avatar. We're not going to put $200 million in it.
Or which from Disney you'd kind of expect they have the money, but no, like the underwater effects in Avatar and Aquaman, I think even did a little bit more for me. But it's nothing offensive. I'd say sit through it if you want to. But I'll give it a later.
Okay. Brian, I'm gonna skip you for now because I think there's your rating and your daughter's rating.
I was gonna put two different things.
Yeah, so I'll skip yours real quick because yours is kind of like two. But so for me, real quick, I keep it short. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. If you're a fan of it, you might like it. Right under the animated is still better by far. But man, my biggest issue is that an hour or later, I'm probably going to end up giving it a later. But as Brian's going to say, if you have kids, it changes. If you're a big fan of the original, it might change too. But just like as a critic and thinking more critically, it's probably a later for me. This already, I can 100% guarantee this is going to murder on Disney Plus. This is going to set records on Disney Plus. This is going to be watched a bazillion times by each family who has Disney Plus, especially like if you have a girl and stuff like that. This is actually going to destroy on Disney Plus. But either way, I'm going to give it a later. It was fun enough. So Brian, what you got?
All right, so I'm going to say for me, I understand the need. What's up, El? I understand the need to be multicultural. I understand that these stories that have been passed down from generation to generation. It's great for kids to see themselves and understand that concept, and it's huge for me. That's very huge for me. So as a person, honestly, the first one I didn't care for that much. I thought it was very racist. It had a lot of racist parts to it, and I was disheartened by it. So when you say it's not as good as the original, I'm like, the original, I hated it. I mean, I told you like the blackfish to sing, and I was like, man, F you. Like, really, you gonna say that to me, and you gonna have Aretha Franklin singing like that? No, that's not okay. And have those and I'm worse. I didn't like that. I don't like a lot of those things that did back then. So, you know, like for me, having a multicultural one, being able to feel comfortable with showing my kids these things without them feeling and having to ask me and answer hard questions on why do they think that's okay. It's better for me, you know. So it just as me, I think this was my second favorite Disney anime remake like this live action remake. I will say now, especially if you do it before it's Across the Spider-Verse, it's definitely now. But once Across the Spider-Verse comes in, I will say watch Across the Spider-Verse. I liked it more than I like Fast X, so that's why I'm saying, like, for me, it's still a now, because I thought Fast X was close to being a now for me. You know, so this is a now. As far as a parent, a different hat on. This is not just a now. You should have already sent your kids out to see this. I think it's important for, you know, to have that multicultural idea and teach all your kids to be better than what they're coming from. And I think this has a hand in hand in doing those things. We in a world right now where everyone is getting brave because they're behind the keyboard. Everyone wants to say whatever the heck they want to say because they want to say it to your face and things like that. But teaching someone to be thoughtful about someone else's culture, that their culture is important too, and then they could be a part of these things, are huge for me. I think that they're huge. They should be huge for everyone, and everyone should be teaching their kids that. Not just, you know, I think Encanto was incredible. You know, seeing these things, breaking barriers matters. And that's why I say now, because you need to break these barriers now. Now, the reason I don't get upset with Brandon at all for what he said, Brandon's a 38-year-old man. Why the hell you want to go see this damn movie? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I wouldn't go see this damn movie, you know, if I wasn't doing this show or if I didn't have kids, you know. But because I am, that's why I say, like, this is why I like those things. So, like, you know, I think it's a now. I have no apologies for it, and you know, I applaud them for doing this movie. I enjoyed this one in particular, and you know, and I understand what other people wouldn't. That's just true. You know how I put it. Leave it like that.
Yeah, we'll do that. So we usually bring up Rotten Tomatoes, but that whole Rotten Tomatoes we're going to talk about next. Because there's issues with the Rotten Tomato score with this one. There's already a lot of YouTubers talking about it. So I'm going to save that for our next segment. So if you're watching a replay, I'll put the link up here right above Brian's head, you know, so you can check out that discussion with it. If you're watching live, stick around because we are going to talk about that next. But anything else, guys, before we move on?
No, I mean, this is good to talk about.
Okay.
And Brandon, thank you for going to go see it, because I know you did not.
He did not want to see it.
He's just being a good teammate. That's all that was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to hop on a grenade.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And sing part of this world or part of your world.
Yeah. But no, I went into it, you know, as open-minded as possible rather than going in actively wanting to hate it. That would have been that would have been wrong. I thought I didn't think it. Excuse me. I didn't think it wasn't without its merits.
Well,
but you know, there were elements that I thought worked. You know,
fun.
And you know, at worst, it'll, you know, maybe for younger generations, it'll have them go revisit the original, but I'm not one of those that's like, oh, it's going to ruin the original, because it's not like it's going to wipe it out of existence. It's just another interpretation at the end of the day. Yeah. And I did like the colorblind casting, because it kind of reminded me of like the Cinderella from 97.
Yeah. Brandy and Whitney Houston.
Whitney Houston, Whoopi Goldberg, Victor Garber. I forgot the actor's name, the Filipino fellow who played the prince, but you know, I don't think colorblind casting is a bad thing, and the fact that that people were getting so up in arms about that really was disheartening. And you know, people are just really showing who they really were, but you can't you can't gatekeep fiction when it comes to that sort of Ariel's character is not tied to a race. It doesn't matter if her skin were turquoise, if we're being honest. So the fact that people were getting really that up in arms about this was really disheartening. But I thought the movie was decent enough. It wasn't. I can honestly say I didn't hate it.
That's a win.
That's a win. Exactly. I count that as a win for me. Because I appreciate that.
Yeah. It was fine.
Yeah.
It was fine. It was all right.
So real quick, there's something I do want to show before we move on, because like why this movie is important, and kind of going off of what Brian did say. I'm not going to show audio. There's really not much audio anyway. It's kind of making its round on TikToks and Instagram and all that, short reel kind of stuff. But Halle Bailey was at Disney. I don't know which one, but she was at Disney, and there's this video going around of just girl, her arms are locked in, like she is not letting go. And
oh yeah, I remember
like if this doesn't bring a tear to your eye, like I don't know, because like how important this little girl thinks that this actress is, because of how it makes her feel. So yeah. And then obviously like she understands as a young actress, and she knows, and she's enjoying it too, and but yeah, this is what I thought is like this is why. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
Yeah. So that was super cool. I think my girlfriend actually showed me that clip. But real quick, we'll go over some of these last little comments before we get going. Kevin Davis said, Little Mermaid domestic box office total run, he's predicting 330 domestic, which, okay. We're going to talk about numbers in a little bit, but okay. Derpy said, I think Sebastian was funnier in this than the original film.
Wow. Funnier maybe, but better. The original film is just so good.
He just looks better and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I don't disagree completely with that. I really, it's a good one. Derpy also, he said this film is so important to every little African American girl, the boy specifically, just like Panther was in 2018. I love the remake more than the original with the new stuff added. Eric's song. So yeah, Derpy thinks it's better than the original. For someone who absolutely loves the original, Little Mermaid, this is one live action film I've been waiting since the Aquaman water CGI technology happened. So
they could have done better with the CGI, but
yeah, it was good. It was good. I liked it, but they could have done a little bit better, but I didn't mind it. And then Horgy said Ariel with the King Trident ending was nice. And I agree.
That was when you felt like it was a father.
Yeah. So that's when I didn't mind the changing of who killed Ursula. It was like, oh, okay, I get it, but also I still agree with Brandon. It should have been Eric, because he's the one. But also I thought it was.
He did dive out. He did dive into the ocean and try to fight something that lives in the ocean. That doesn't really work well for humans that well.
Yeah, I was like, he tried, but I did like how Ariel did kind of give him credit. It's like. He's like, oh, you saved me. And she goes, no, we saved you. Like, don't forget, he tried too. He swam a little bit. So, but yeah, it was funny. But cool. I think that's it for that one. That one, holy shit, it was like an hour long. But it's people with a lot of opinions and stuff like that. But we got a bunch of people in chat. We always appreciate you guys. If you're watching our replay, thank you. Appreciate it. We're going to talk about some other Little Mermaid stuff that doesn't have to do with the actual movie itself. So if you want to check that out, make sure you check our videos out coming up. But if you're watching live, stick around because we are going to talk about that kind of stuff. So appreciate everyone in chat. Thank you. But we are going to move on to our next topic.